Hey, welcome to the show, everyone. It is Earth Day. So, to all the millions and millions of people watching me live, I'm so glad you could join me today. It's awesome to see you. Just making sure we're live on on everything. I see I'm up on YouTube. Let's see if we're live on Rumble. Looks like we're live on Rumble too, although it looked a little washed out there. Not sure what's up with that filter. Anyway. So glad you could join me. We got an excellent connection. It's Earth Day. Oh, are you ready for the propaganda? Are you ready for to celebrate everything Earth? Well, yeah. Let's get to it. Today, we're going to talk about Earth Day, the annual celebration where we collectively pat ourselves on the back for not completely trashing the only home we've got. But before we dive in, can we take a moment to just appreciate the sheer awesomeness of this big blue marble we call home? Have you seen the Grand Canyon, the Northern Lights, or just a sunset on a summer evening? It's like nature saying, hey, humans, I got this. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. But you know what really gets me? It's the way folks turn Earth Day into some big guilt trip. Like we're all personally responsible for every polar bear drowning and glacier melting. Look, I'm all for taking care of the planet. It's our planet, right? But let's not get too carried away with this climate change hysteria. Sure, climate's changing. Always has, always will. But to suggest that we puny humans have the power to control the weather... Oh, yeah, don't look at the Dubai floods. Never mind. Besides that, okay? Don't even get me started on the climate propaganda machine. It's like every time there's a heat wave or a hurricane, they come out of the woodwork, blaming it all. It's all SUVs. It's all cow farts, right? Newsflash, folks. Climate is complex. There's a lot of factors at play. So let's not jump to conclusions or waste our time on unproven theories. Instead of dwelling on the doom and gloom, let's use Earth Day as an opportunity to celebrate the beauty and resilience of our planet. Let's go for a hike, plant some trees, or simply take a moment to marvel at the wonder of nature. And while we're at it, let's remember that we're not the masters of the universe, but merely guests on this cosmic journey. So let's treat Mother Earth with the respect she deserves, if those are her pronouns. And maybe, just maybe, she'll cut us some slack in return. So here's to Earth Day, the ultimate reminder that we're all in this together. My name's Tom Coffey. This is the Coffey Nuance Show, best censored commentary and news show live. Right now, flame on. Yeah, so it's Earth Day. It is Earth Day. We got lots of news happening with Earth Day, and the first one. This is kind of interesting. I think always you got to look for opportunities, even in the midst of scams, right? Whatever you want to call it. But yeah, let me get to this first story. We're talking about what Biden is doing. He's marking Earth Day by announcing $7 billion with a B, because it's not his money, in federal solar power grants. President Biden announced $7 billion for solar projects in low-income communities and expands the American Climate Corps program. The grants aim to reduce emissions and save households money. The initiative targets young voters, and they're contrasting this with the Republicans' energy policies. So pretty much, if you read between the lines... Oh, was there no bumper music? No bumper music. I thought I had that fixed. Well, we'll see about that. So if you read between the lines of the story that is coming out today about Biden's $7 billion for solar projects, it's done specifically to encourage young voters to vote for Biden in the election. Wow. How about that? You can just read the article yourself and you're like, oh, they're pretty much saying it. The reason that he's doing this is he wants to show young voters that there's a difference between him and Trump, right? So, yeah. Now, it's funny how these are always framed as this is going to help, low-income communities. So low-income people are going to get free solar panels? Oh, no, that's not how it works. They've got organizations, local organizations that are going to take this grant money and they're going to use it to buy solar power for things they deem that would help the community. And you can imagine what those are. And I'm sure they're not going to squander any of that cash. Wouldn't it be better if you wanted to help low-income communities with solar power? Here's an idea. Put up some solar panels and give people under a certain level of income a discount on their energy bill. Right? Oh no, we can't do that because what we're doing here is we're laundering the money. We're taking federal money. We're shifting it to local organizations that, I'm sure don't also have ties in with voter programs. And we're bribing them. I mean, we're giving them these grants so that they can decide what to do with this solar power. I don't know. I have a hard time even explaining the program without sounding totally cynical, as though it's some kind of payoff to, local Democrats. That's what it looks like. All under the guise of trying to get young voters to then vote Democrat this fall. So anyway, I guess that's good news, right? I'll look into it. I'll see if maybe, hey, is there any chance I can get some solar panels? I'm low income. Could I get some solar panels? Probably don't qualify. But anyway, that's the news on this Earth Day. Next up, let's see if we got the bumper music. Going into what's happening at Columbia University. That's what it was. I needed to turn up the volume on this computer. But I think we got the bumper music now. Anyway, what's going on at Columbia? What's happening at Columbia University? You know what? I spelled Columbia wrong. Shame on me. I spelled it like the country and not the university. In this country, we spell Columbia Columbia. That's how we spell it. Right? District of Columbia. But the country of Columbia doesn't have a U. It has two O's. So if you didn't know, now you know. That's the difference. Yeah. So anyway, what's going on at Columbia University? Leaders and organizations are urging Columbia University and its president to address reports of anti-Semitic incidents amid pro-Palestinian protests on campus. Columbia's president announced virtual classes and discussions to resolve the crisis. Concerns over safety prompted a rabbi to advise Jewish students to leave campus. Calls for action have escalated while the White House condemns violence against Jewish students. Well, that's big of them. Protests center on Israel's action in Gaza, which demands for divestment from Israeli-connected companies. Amid arrests and criticism, there's solidarity protests at other universities. Columbia vows to enhance security and address disruptions. Now, I'm just going to say this off the bat. Jewish students in America are not responsible for what Israel does, okay? Can you... This shouldn't be a hard concept. In the same way, Muslim students in this country are not responsible for what Muslims do on the other side of the earth. All right? It's a pretty easy thing to grasp, but apparently not. Yeah, Columbia University actually has a lot of Jewish students. Many Jewish students at Columbia, as well as, a lot of the Ivy League, lots of Jewish students. And for them to feel physically threatened They can't even go to their classes. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I'm against that. Okay. In the same way, guess what? I'm against making anyone feel unsafe to go to a college class, right? It doesn't matter what your background is, what you think you are, what you want to pretend to be, what your religion is, what you're studying, what you look like, the clothes you wear. It doesn't matter. Everyone should be able to go to a college class without threats of violence. I know. I'm a radical. But yeah, that's what's happening in our elite universities. You think maybe, perhaps, maybe, the Jewish students might think about, I will retract what I was going to say. I'm just going to take that back. Never mind. Because I don't think I could say it in a way that it wouldn't be misconstrued. I probably should have thought about what I was going to say there beforehand. But anyway, that's what's happening at our elite universities. Jewish students are under threat of physical violence. It's like, well, welcome to the club. No one should be under the threat of physical violence. And that includes conservative people. Going back to years before, where they were having these violent protests against, having like Ann Coulter speak on campus. Here's an idea. Let's condemn all violence on college campuses, shall we? I don't know. That's probably a crazy idea. Anyway, we got an update about, this is big news. Did the election fraud case that Kari Lake has been bringing, where she can show the evidence that the Arizona election was fraudulent, is the Supreme Court gonna hear the case? Yeah, of course not. The Supreme Court rejected a case brought by Republicans Kari Lake and Mark Fincham concerning the use of voting machines in Arizona elections. The lawsuit, aimed to block electronic voting machines, alleges inaccuracies and manipulation. Both Lake and Fincham have lost their respective elections in 2022. The lawsuit had been previously dismissed by a federal judge, upheld by the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. The Supreme Court's decision marks the end of the legal challenge. Now, despite the dismissal, the attorneys involved expressed disappointment and indicated intentions to continue raising these issues. Republicans, including Lake, Fincham, and former President Trump, have consistently raised doubts about election results despite courts upholding them. Now, when we say despite court upholding them, what that means is if you don't look at something, then you can't rule on it. And then you can say there's been no ruling about it. You see how that works? It's very, very clever. It's very clever. Analogies are never very good. Sometimes they're okay to kind of help understand the situation, but I don't know. Using analogies is kind of a weak way of talking about things, which is why I will do that, right? That's what you come here for, the weakest argument. But if there's a case and you say, hey, I have evidence of this thing happening, and they go, nah, we're not going to look at it. Okay, let me go up to the next level. Hey, this lower court wouldn't allow me to present this evidence. Will you look at this evidence so I can prove that this thing happened? No. We'll defer to the other court. It's like, okay, we'll go to the Supreme Court. Hey, Supreme Court, can we show you this evidence to show that this might have been? Nope. And they go, no, we're not going to see it. So if you never take a case, you never have to draw a conclusion. Now, I'm not making any claims whatsoever. It would be nice if there were some courts that would actually look at evidence being presented. And the way that this has been framed in most of the corporate media is that there's no evidence of an election being fraudulent or having any issues like that. So therefore, it didn't happen. Well, I mean, the same thing I could say. Like, here's a way to look at it. Like, airplanes don't exist. You go, Tom, of course airplanes exist. And you go, no, well, I'm looking around. I don't see any airplanes. Do you see an airplane? No airplanes here. There's no evidence that airplanes exist. Well, Tom, can I show you a picture of an airplane? No, I don't need to see that picture of an airplane. What about all these reports about airplane? No, they don't exist. So that's one way, and that's like the weakest analogy ever. It's a terrible analogy, but it is just kind of a way to look at it. If you never look at something, it doesn't exist. In the same way, if local, let's say district attorneys, let's say they stop prosecuting, let's say, I don't know, shoplifting, right? They say, oh, you know what? We're not going to prosecute shoplifters. Well, what's the result of that? Then in the crime stats, you have no shoplifting. So it looks like shoplifting went way down. Oh my goodness, shoplifting. There's no shoplifting anymore. It's like, well, yeah, if you don't prosecute it, it doesn't get counted. If it doesn't get counted, you can say that it went down, but did it really go down? It didn't go down. You're just not looking at any evidence. And so this is kind of a disappointment. I would have liked at least that one of these cases could have been seen before a court so that this evidence could be presented in a court. But that's what they seem to be doing. It's just like, no, we're not even going to look at it. So, oh well, this is kind of the result that I expected. But anyway, speaking of politics, we got some more news going on. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Oh, this is big news. Democrats are mobilizing to counter Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s potential impact on the 2024 election. They fear, there's a little opinion here, he could undermine President Biden's reelection. They're rallying Kennedy's family around Biden, highlighting his ties to former President Trump, conducting opposition research to expose his extreme positions. Now, despite Kennedy's recent decisions, Democrats remain vigilant and are emphasizing connections between Kennedy and Trump. They're urging unity and stressing the importance of educating the public about the potential consequences of split votes in the upcoming election. So yeah, we've been hearing all about these different polls, and I think I'll do a show about polls and how to look at the polls, because there's a lot of shenanigans when it comes to polls, and it's tricky because you're hearing different narratives. Kennedy is taking votes from Trump. Kennedy is taking votes from Biden. Kennedy is taking votes from both equally, right? We're hearing all of these narratives right now. But you really need to look at individual states, okay? Because that's how our system works. If we know that a national poll, while it has some impact, a national poll doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? What matters are the individual states. And look at all the swing states, right? California is most likely going to be Biden, okay? That's what it is. So does it matter if California wins by 100,000, if Biden wins by 100,000 votes or by 10 million votes, right? It doesn't matter. California is going for Biden. So if he wins by millions more, who cares, right? It's just who wins that thing. When you look at all the swing states, and you look at all the swing states, and they're all currently favoring Trump, that's probably a tad bit more important than these national polls. But yeah, the Dems are going hard at Kennedy, and I know that the Trump team is also going at Kennedy. Not quite as hard. But it's also more difficult for the Trump campaign to go at Kennedy because, well, they don't have the entire media behind them that's able to, run hit pieces on him the way that the Democrats do. But anyway, that's something to be on the lookout for. Look out for all the hit pieces against RFK Jr. In the coming weeks. It's quite interesting and quite a change of position from what they said would be going on. Anyway, we need some good news on this Monday, Earth Day. So let me get to a good news story for everyone. Other people, they like us more than we think, research finds. Now, again, I'm getting into the story, and any time, just be aware if it says research finds this and experts say this, be very skeptical. Okay, be very skeptical of it. But here's the story. Psychologists studying human perceptions found that people often underestimate how much others like them. It's a phenomenon termed the liking gap. This bias persists even after initial interactions, can affect workplace dynamics. Negative self-perceptions contribute to this gap as people tend to focus on their perceived shortcomings. However, there are strategies to align beliefs with reality, such as focusing on the conversation partner rather than oneself and engaging in active listening. Practicing interactions with strangers or acquaintances can help overcome this bias. Overall, people are likely to be more liked than they realize. And that's good news. The majority of people, they think, well, I'm not sure they liked me. I'm not sure. And the research has shown, and again, be skeptical anytime someone says the research has shown, right? Because often it's BS. I'm just saying that. And then I come through with the conclusion that we're not very good at judging how much others like us. And it turns out that on average, we don't think people like us as much as they actually do. So be aware of that. And again, some of the things that you can just work on, now that you know this, trust me, I'm telling you, now that you know that people like you more than you think, you can practice having conversation. Practice with people you don't even know. You're standing in line at the grocery store, just do a little chat with the person in front of you. Make a comment about what they're buying, ask them if it's any good. And we may instinctively think, oh, this person feels like I'm bothering them. But it could be quite the opposite. They may say, oh, look at this nice person chatting to me, even though they don't know me. Oh, they're opening a conversation with me. They must think I'm a interesting person or something. So again, our perception of how others view us is not the same as how others actually view us. So with that in mind, I think that that's good news, and perhaps you can try to utilize that for a better life. I don't know, but I think that that's pretty cool. I have known for a long time that I am terrible at judging what other people think of me. I am no good at it whatsoever. I stink at that. There's probably reasons for it. So I will often just assume that everybody thinks I'm awesome until proven otherwise. That's kind of how I roll through life, because I am awesome, and I would assume that they can recognize how awesome I am. Now, if they don't, that's okay. But what does this do? This allows me to strike up a conversation with anyone, anywhere, without the fear that they are, that they think less of me or whatever. I feel like I can talk with anyone, anywhere. And you know what? I think my perception that everyone thinks I'm awesome, I think that's actually closer to reality than what most people think, which is most people think that other people don't like them. So whether I'm right or whether you're right, Mine's a little bit more fun. So I hope that's just a different way to perceive the world. I don't know. I thought the article was interesting. I wanted to share it with you. I think it's good news. And if I can just tell you that the research is saying that most people have self-perception of how others view them is not the same as how others actually view them, that perhaps that's a little nudge. It's a little nudge into being more open with the people around you. So when you're out there today on Earth Day, go ahead, strike up a conversation. What the hell, right? Anyway, that was the good news of the day. I try to bring in some good news. It is Earth Day. Am I going to go for a hike? I think I got to go for a hike. I have to go for a hike. It's Earth Day. It's Earth Day. Although, as it is Earth Day, I know that most of the places that I could go for a hike, parking lots are going to be full. That's okay. I think I'll bike there. Anyway, stick around for the after show. I will be going through all your comments on Rumble and on YouTube. And I will be back on Wednesday. Big Idea Wednesday. So hope to see you then. Hey, if you made it this far in the stream, go ahead. Smash the like button. I should change that from 50 likes to something more reasonable, like 4 likes. But it is what it is. Anyway, hope you all have an awesome Earth Day, and I'll see you in the after show. And then on Wednesday. Have a good one. Peace. Okay, here we are. Not a whole lot happening over there on Rumble. What is up? We get a lot more people watching Rumble not live. Get a lot more views after it's already been live, watching the replay. But that's okay. What's Ox? Reporting, telling the truth about how the money or solar panels doesn't go straight to lower income families. Middleman with money laundering opportunity. Bag of money, 10%. If you know, you know. Yeah. I will have to look and see, and this is actually something that I want to look into. I will actually look into seeing what comes about in local programs, because perhaps I could apply for something. There could be something that I could apply to get solar panels on my house or something. Perhaps. I don't know. I suspect not. I suspect it'll be a lot more shady than that. But maybe I could get some solar panels. I was thinking about it. My neighbor, I was talking with him. He is looking at putting solar panels on his house, and it's a DIY thing where he can order a kit and put it on, not have batteries, and it will go back into the grid. Here in Portland, they actually give you a really good deal if you put it back into the grid. They pay you for that, Now, that's currently, these things could change at any time. But currently, it seems to be a pretty good deal, and he thinks that he could have the whole thing paid off, that it'll pay for itself, within 6 to 8 years. Not bad, not bad. Of course, if you took that money and put it in Bitcoin, what would that be worth in 6 to 8 years? I don't know. Just saying. Just saying. Who knows? Who knows? But the possibilities are out there. I'll look and see if there's any local opportunities for me. And you should do the same thing, because maybe these Biden payouts, maybe in your state or your local area, it could work out to your advantage that you might have access to some stuff. Might as well take advantage of it. I mean, if they're giving out billions nationwide, you can get a piece of it. I say go for it. I say go for it. Let's see. Oh, this mouse. Here we go. Let's see. What's up, Tom? Good to see you. No bumper music. Yeah. I needed to turn this up. Did I go through my checklist this morning? Of course not. Why would I do that? I think lessons, I have to repeat things many, 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 many times before I actually learn. So That's that's it. Is what it is. Lucid, have you finished building your house yet? No free solar panels for straight white males. Maybe. I was wondering. I don't know. Maybe I could change. You know, here in Oregon, you can actually change your gender on your driver's license. I think it was like $70 or something like that. They actually give you the option of having an X rather than an M or an F. You know, you could take your gender out. Although they say gender, but it says sex on the driver's license. So maybe I could, maybe it would be available for non-binary people. And then I could just change it on my driver's license to be, I could be non-binary. And then maybe, I'll have to see. If there's solar panels for non-binary and I could get solar panels on my house, I'd go to the DMV and switch that, right? Like, do what you got to do, right? What's it called when you use a Y-shaped branch for finding water? Did you try that? The Y-shaped branch, what is that? I forget what that is called. But it totally works. Yeah. I think it's called water witching. Never tried it myself. Divining rod. That's divining rod. That's right. Thanks, Lucid, for that. Did you locate water and drill a well? Oh, nice. Okay, Tom, it seems we have been living in bizarro world for quite a while. Supreme Court is just verifying that. The thing is, we may have been in bizarro world for quite a while. What's weird, though, is when you finally recognize that, right? So I would say this year, 2024, I've become more and more and more aware of things. I might have been semi-aware in the past, but I'm becoming extremely aware now. It doesn't mean that it hasn't been that way for years, but it's like when you start cluing into it, it's a bit overwhelming, and it does make it tough. I'm trying to go through to find some stories to talk about. It makes it tough. Anyway, happy Earth Day. Yeah. Trip. Who's awesome? You're awesome. Thanks, man. If you're talking to me, see, I assume if you're saying someone's awesome, I assume you're talking about me. But you could be talking about anyone, because I think we're all awesome here. California failed to track its homelessness spending or results per audit. I'm sure the solar stuff is similar. Yeah, it's interesting here. We had something, there was a 10-year project in Portland called, it was like Project Zero or something. I forget exactly what it was called, but it had to do with traffic deaths in the city. And they started doing all of these things to decrease traffic deaths. So there were roads that were like very wide, and then they put in barriers and little things on the side and put parking and bike lanes and little barriers that, like these little islands that would collect water and somehow, I don't know, somehow make stuff better. I don't know exactly how it worked. But they did all of these things to change how the traffic flow worked. Putting in lots of crosswalks and extra lights and all kinds of stuff. And then when it came near the end of the project, they decided at the end of the project not to do an audit to see if any of the work that they did for the last 10 years did anything. Yeah. The whole plan was, we're going to do all this stuff, we're going to try all this stuff, but then when it came to the end, we said, you know what? We're not actually going to look at the results to see if anything that we did made a positive or negative difference. We're not going to fund that. They actually did that, So that is the case, If you do something and then you don't actually audit it to find out if it works or not, it's hard to put a lot of trust in it, I think anything that you're spending billions of dollars on, there should be something in place so at the end of it, you can check and see if it actually worked. And if they say, you know what, that's the one thing we don't need to do. We don't need to audit it. We don't need to find out if it actually worked. I think you can conclude that it doesn't work. I think that would be the accurate thing that you should do. Now, there's no evidence that it doesn't work. Again, if you don't look at it, it didn't happen, right? Right? That's the thought. You put your blinders on. If we don't look at it, it didn't happen. If we don't allow a case to the court, then we can say that it was never proven, you know? So throw your blinders on. If we don't do an audit to find out if all of these traffic barriers that we put up, if it did anything to cause less traffic deaths, then it must have worked, because we don't have any evidence that it made it worse because we're not looking at it. You know? So, yeah. I don't know. Par for the course. Natasha, let's see. I need to dye my beard. I look like I'm Gandalf the Grey. Well, Lucid, you can, good luck in dyeing your beard. And the thing is, you start dyeing your beard, and then, I wouldn't know anything about dyeing my beard. I certainly wouldn't know anything about dyeing my beard, at all. Because I wouldn't do that. No, actually, right now, the only place I dye is right here on my chin. I have just like this is white right here. But all the rest of it, not a single white anywhere else, just right here. And it looks weird on camera. It looks like the light is hitting it wrong. It just like looks odd. But knock yourself out. Go for a dye your beard if you like. We're all awesome here, Tom. Yes, I agree. We are all awesome here. Lucid says, this show is my favorite time of the day. I appreciate you, Tom. I will take that as being true. I will say that my own feelings on that is, I will take you at your word, but it means a lot to me if that's actually true. Tom, the traffic project sounds like the something project. No follow-up. Yeah, you don't need follow-up. You don't need follow-up whatsoever. Natasha says that she's been investigating and experimenting with a carnivore diet. Lots of testimonials, and it heals everything almost. Supposedly good for eliminating inflammation. I may be doing that myself. I may be doing a carnivore diet. These types of things, it's tough to recommend to anyone else, and we all choose to do things based on our own research and based on our own, whatever. But I am trying to get down to the weight that I need to be. I know that, my dad's turning 90. Not a whole lot of 90-year-olds walking around that are like, 250 pounds, right? So I that's why I'm working on my diet, getting down. I just can't be too big. I think it is wrecking things a bit too much. So that's one thing that I'm working on. And then I'm jumping on another one of these trends. You're talking about, everything is good for you. Everyone's talking about things that are good for you. I just got a cold plunge. So I have a cold plunge on my back porch, where you hop in for a minute or whatever as a way to start the day in freezing cold water. And, everybody online says it's the amazing thing. I'm going to try it out. And after I do it for a month, I will share my results for everyone. We'll see. I might love it. I might think it's the dumbest thing ever, but I'm going to give it a shot. So I'm actually working on that right now. Anyway, I hope you all have a beautiful Earth Day. Get out there, go for a walk. We got a beautiful sunny day. Birds are chirping here in Portland, so I'm gonna get out for a little bit. Hope you can too. Anyway, I'll see y'all on Wednesday. Have a good one. Peace.